Hey everybody, welcome back to another WARNO video, and today I can show you the preview versions of the upcoming divisions that you'll also be able to play very soon when the Nay update, or whatever it's called, is coming out. So there's two new divisions. We have the 8th Infantry Division and the 39th Guards Strategy Division, something like that. Both of these are infantry divisions. I guess it shows you in the type, infantry, and the other two are tank. And first, or in this video, we'll go over the 8th Infantry Division, and in the next one, the Strike Division. So, as previewed, there are some German units in there. So let's, go over the units briefly and then just build a rough deck, shall we? So M35 supply, M113A2 supply. I'm not sure if this one is new or if the Armor Division also already had it, not sure. Hemd, Mud, M577, Blackhawks, all of these are already known. This one, of course, with the MGs on the side. So another thing to change is the mud only comes at 4 per card now. I think it used to be 6. And then the card of supply. Supply tends to last fairly long, although maybe I need 2 cards of supply this time. Anyway, infantry tab, lots of slots and very cheap slots. Except for the last two, all of them only cost 1 point, so that's nice to see. A lot of very similar thing. No fire teams anymore, but that's also because there's no Bradley anymore. You get mech rifles and mech rifles with the law. They're 5 points cheaper, but honestly, I don't really think that's worth it. The law just has abysmal range and accuracy. I think I'd much rather have the Dragon 2. Heimatschützen, HK21, and they have the Panzerfaust 44, unlike Wargame, where they have the Plinteside. Another thing you can see is they come only in poor experience, which lowers their chance to hit, lowers the rate of fire, and lowers their stress resistance. Unfortunately, this doesn't update on the unit card, right? If you take a look at mech rifles and change their veterancy to higher, you can see the changes, but you don't see that with Heimatschützen, right? It shouldn't be 50%, it should be lower. I'm not sure if that's a display bug or if the actual penalty isn't implemented yet. We'll have to wait and see. And we have 2 Jäger squads. The Jäger, I don't want to say this, a command Jäger squad. And it comes with Carl Gustav and G3s, those are 4 men. Not very special. Now you can even see at the bottom which divisions they belong to, even by deck building. That's nice. So you can actually check, yep, this is in fact in 3rd armor. Then we have the Jäger. On the card it says Fuchs, but in the... Oh, there it is. In the block they already had said that you can only get them with trucks, so you can only get them with the Unimog. And you can also only get them in trade, which is also what they said, that all the infantry or all the West German units you have access to come at limited veterancy, or training rather. Also carry the Panzerfaust 44, penetration 15, but better range than the law with 700 meters. Also better accuracy, still 20 RPM. I also very much hope that this is work in progress. Not a fan of, like in Wargame for example, disposable launchers like the law had the advantage of high rate of fire and typically speaking less range and or less accuracy for the most part. Right, Epaulets for example less accuracy than Panzerfaust 3 or something like that. It was not always the case, but more or less. But especially in the lower end of categories, like the law had absolutely abysmal accuracy, but 20 RPM. And now the Panzerfaust 44 also has 20 RPM, but it's not a disposable launcher. So again, personally I hope they're gonna update that. Air rifles, once again, also 1 card, still the Blackhawk at 75. But the Heimatschützen, meat shield squads, right? 45 points or 60 points with the Unimog. Again, Unimog with the Jägers, well, you only got 6 per card, but I think at 55 points or 17 total for 11 men sounds good to me. You only get 1 MG, whereas the mech rifles, for example, get 3 MGs. I'm not sure if this is supposed to be displayed in the accuracy difference, but I feel like 3 MGs giving 5 times the accuracy. I don't know. I feel like infantry accuracy weapon is just very wonky. We'll have to wait and see. I think these are stats I think that are gonna be later down the line when it comes to updating unit sets, because they're not typically quite as impactful. But those are for now all the main changes of actual infantry squads. Transports of course are different. For example, the mech rifles get the M113. These guys get the M113 Dragon, which is essentially the same as an M113, but for 15 points you get a Dragon 2 as well. Dragon 2, of course, unlike Wargame, actually has decent pen here, but lacks range compared to, let's say, Concours or Milans, although we haven't seen Milans yet. They have said that they will bring Milans and Kanoniak Panzer, both of which are not in there just yet. So, I do like me some mech rifles in the M113 though. These guys also get the M113, which is actually really, really nice. Let's get some of these guys. There's still 10 men, they don't have an MG, but 60 points for a squad with the Dragon. I think I will... I have these guys for meat shields, so I won't need them just yet. Well, I don't really need them to be that cheap. Let's get like these in there and then some mech rifles. At the moment the deck building is kind of bugged so that I constantly have to switch. Like let's say I double click but I don't add a unit here. It's a bit awkward. I still hope that they are working on improving the deck building experience because it is kind of a hassle right now. I'm not really a fan of infantry leaders, but military police are still amazing. They now have the Iltis instead of the Mud. I guess that's because it's a German. Oh no, it's not German. Should it be German? Or did they just rename the Mud into Iltis? Who knows? Or Mud, whatever it is. Military police are just kind of nice. Very, very cheap for fodder. I'm not using the last slot, I believe. Or I think, simply because 3 AP is a lot, and we can get actually a helicopter transported unit in the Recon tab. Let's check the artillery tab. No West German units yet. We will see a 120mm mortar. As someone pointed out, good chance that that's just gonna be a towed mortar, so not an M113 or the HS30. But we do have the M110, which at the moment has the same rate of fire as an M109. I don't think that should be the case, but I just assume they copied some stats over and haven't touched the rate of fire just yet. You can also see movement is the exact same, fuel is the same, only autonomy is different. Again, not sure if that's intended or not. We'll just have to see. Just gonna add 2 of those, simply because I've tested them. Tanks. No HA Abramses. I do get some patents and some base M1s. They also seem to have changed the availability on some units. Like the M1A1, you get 3 on veteran and then only 1 on elite. I think they have slightly increased the penalty of how many you lose on high veterancy. Uncertain. But M1A1s, I don't think taking 1 on elite is really worth it. One card of tank CV sounds good. We don't really need a veterancy because this one isn't really meant to fight at the front line, unlike the M1A1 CV, because it only has 13 pen, with only the 105mm, just like in Wargame. But still taking 1 card of these should be in a good infantry support tank, and then the card of Patton, like on elite, 95 points, is quite affordable, and 4 on elite, it's gonna boost its rate of fire, its accuracy. Nice suppression. Recon. You have Jägeraufklärer. Basically, same squad as Jäger from what I can see. Panzerfaust 44, all that jazz. But we also get the LARPing Rangers. They're only 6 men, but they come in the Blackhawk, which is nice. They also carry the 84, which is what I was also wondering. So 19 AP, 700 meters range. That's quite nice. Scouts, M151 Jeep, ACAF, M150, and the OH58s, just like in 3rd Armored. I do like me a Kiowa Warrior. I also do like me the Jäger. They're 11 men as opposed to 6 men. And they also have exceptional optics. I'm also still not certain if some infantry recon having exceptional optics, others good, others very good as intended. Personally not a fan of them having exceptional optics, since they also get exceptional stealth. And in this case they're also quite tanky and can fight. So, I said it in a recent video, I don't like infantry squads or units in general to be like jack of all trades and master of all, right? Not a fan of that. But that's what early access is for. Taking care of these. Probably on elite because I only lose 1 here. I'm not sure about the availability penalty on high vet, how much is like intended, how much is not. And if there's these changes, like differences to like recon and tank are intended or not. And the ACAF, unfortunately only 1 card, I would take 2, so I'm gonna take it on veteran only. Anti-air, we get the red eye. 3 HEs, just absolute dog shit with 3 rate of fire and 35% accuracy. Still not a fan of Stingers having 3 RPM, but I guess given that they're only 20 points, which is just ridiculously cheap, I guess there's gotta be a drawback, but for Red Eyes, ugh. Like for 5 points more, the Stingers are just ridiculous. Should, in my eyes, definitely be like 40 or 50 points and have like 6 to 10 RPM. In Wargame they're 10, but given that you don't have to sacrifice a valuable infantry slot anymore, and that infantry slots aren't standardized as much, they could probably be more expensive because they're much easier to fit in. And if you were able to get infantry and manpads in the support tab in Wargame, I think you'd take them nearly all the time if you had Stingers or Regulars or something, because manpads are just really good and in an unspec deck just hard to fit in. But this is not about Wargame, this is about WARNO. Take a 5 here. 1 card should be enough because, yeah, I do like me the pivots, I do like me the Chaparral, and I do like me the OH58. That one at least has 30 RPM, which is kind of crazy. But I guess it's because, you know, it has 4 tubes set already, so it makes sense. Basic Cobra. I don't really need a Ito Cobra because I have the Kiowa Warrior in the Recon tab with the Hellfire. Air tab. New stuff here. We have 2 Alpha Jets, which are actually not as slow as this in Wargame, right? In Wargame they were, I think, as slow as Thunderbolts. Maybe they were 600 in Wargame. Maybe they were 600 kmh and the Thunderbolt was 500. Here 700, so at least a bit faster, but yeah. You do also only get 3 of them. If you get like 5 or 6 of them, I think maybe they might be worth it at 75 points. Or 115 even, but at 2 and 3 per card with horrible survivability and speed. They have exceptional agility, I guess, which is kind of nice, but still I don't think they're worth it. They also don't have a gun, which I don't know if it's intended or not, but they are kind of trainer planes, I think, or used as trainer planes as well. You see, Raven again, it does have missiles, once more, I don't know if that's intended or not, and it does have 60% ECM, it is very, very fast. Gonna take a card of that. F-16 Cluster and F-16 ASF Fighting Falcon with Sparrows, definitely gonna take 2 cards, of even 3 cards I think of that. F-111 Bomber with 12 MK82s. I don't know how good that is, it really depends on the drop pattern. So I think I'm holding off for that. I want to take the cluster in, but I actually do need 1 more activation point. And fine, I'll only use the 1 M110, which is probably not the best choice, but let's just try this. And that's this deck. So we will still see Milan, either probably in the infantry department, because it didn't specify a vehicle with it, I believe. So probably a Milan team, or maybe even Panzergrens with Milan. Though they didn't mention Panzergrens, so probably a dedicated Milan team. Maybe a Milan Jeep. And 120mm mortar in this artillery tab. And Kanoniak Panzer, I presume, is going to end up in a tank tab. And that's, I think, all the units that they announced. So yeah, it definitely is a bit different. Tank tab is quite different, airplanes, but once more, I think maybe with the exception of the infantry tab, just the choices just aren't. It more or less builds itself in my eyes. So yeah, still gotta warm up to the division system. Maybe they're gonna tweak it a bit. There were some very nice and interesting suggestions that I'd like to see, but I'm just gonna wait and see before I try to voice my concerns more loudly. I am doing that in Strike Team, of course, but also gotta be careful with what you say, because you don't want hordes of people just jumping on Eugen or anyone really, when they might already be working on exactly that, so that doesn't really help. But yeah, division system as it is right now, not the biggest fan, but we just gotta wait and see. In any case, next time we're gonna take a look at the Soviet division, the 39th Guards no, not official, but the Guards Infantry Division 39th. Or is it that one? Yeah, it's that one. They've got VPs and some other stuff. Any case, hope you enjoyed it, and I'll hopefully see you next time. Bye bye.